seems like Gavin Newsom is actually planning on building a smart city out of Los Angeles. And he also called it as LA 2.0. And a lot of people are actually very angry about this whole decision. I mean, just take a look at this interview that Gavin Newsom just gives.
But also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team looking and reimagining LA 2.0. And we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast.
I mean, he's literally stating it, right? There's always been this conspiracy theories going around that, they might destroy cities using fires and basically make the real estate price drop so low that these powerful elites could one day buy these real estates at an impossibly cheap prices, and they could start building what's supposed to be the smart city that they have plans for in future for whatever kind of disgusting reasons that these guys might have. And it seems like they're making the city ready for 2028 Olympics, which has already been decided that it's going to take place in Los Angeles. And now it seems like Gavin is basically preparing for that stuff. And he already says that they're currently in works in order to, make this whole reimagined LA 2.0 city.
People
just take a look at what he says.
That were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan? Tell us about this Marshall Plan.
We're just starting to lay out. I mean, we're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders. We're starting to organize how we can put together a collection of individuals on philanthropy for recovery, how we can organize the region, how we can make sure that we are seeking federal assistance for the Olympics more broadly.
You see, right there, that's basically what he's mentioning for the Olympics. He's basically doing it for the Olympics.
But also federal assistance for the recovery efforts and how we can galvanize the community with folks that love this community to really develop a mindset so that at scale we're dealing with the scope of this tragedy and responding to it at scale with efficiency like the executive order I talked about, time value of delivering projects, addressing building codes, addressing permitting issues, and moving forward to rebuilding and being more resilient.
I don't know, man. Honestly, it seems like, these guys might have planned this whole thing, like the entire stuff that just happened. And it just seems like, they've only been preparing all of this stuff just for the 2028 Olympics. Probably they're going to be making a lot more money using all of these LA 2.0, which is supposed to be some sort of a smart city. And a smart city is obviously going to make them a lot more money. And these guys will now own like 90% of all of those real estates. Now, the funny part is that, all of this stuff was already predicted. And, some of the conspiracy theorists, they actually came out and they said, well, the government is planning to do this and that. They're just basically trying to take over all of your lands. So there might be some sort of a hoax that they might bring up with, or some sort of a disaster, which could basically make the entire real estate business just fall utterly so low that everybody is going to be forced in order to sell the property for whatever price they're offered. So that is basically the kind of plan that, Newsom has as of now. And it seems like he's already working on all of these new blueprints. And thankfully, a lot of people know about this whole situation and they're just preparing themselves and they're saying, no, we're not going to take this stuff. We're just going to wait there. We are not going to move away from this land. This belongs to us. And, shit is about to go down, people. So the coming months and years are, of course, going to be very crucial to see what kind of new changes is actually going to be happening with the new Los Angeles 2.0 plan. Because right before all of this Los Angeles fire happened, it seems like Gavin actually resupplied all of the water that was existing in Los Angeles. And apparently all of those water was sent down in order to save a bunch of fish. Can you believe that? And he's been boasting about this stuff, and this literally just happened before the entire city burned down. So this could possibly mean that there are some big people that have already planned this whole thing, and everything is probably a hoax. Just take a look at this stuff.
Significant, if not the most significant water restoration project, bringing back salmon and steelhead into this basin. This project could not have happened without extraordinary partnerships with tribal nations and, of course, our partners in the North and Oregon.
What is the situation with the water?
I mean, look at this stuff. And after the fire situation, this is what Gavin has to say.
Water, obviously, in Palisades ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter in this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system.
Local folks are going to figure that out, he says. Literally. How are local folks going to figure it out when there is literally no water, dude? You removed all the water right before this whole thing could happen, and then he says local folks are going to figure this out.
Not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local. The local folks are trying to figure that out.
I mean, this entirely looks like, these people might have already planned this whole thing out. And now that Elon Musk and Trump have been speaking up against Gavin being one of the most incompetent leaders out there, and this is what he has to say about Elon Musk, man.
Look, I've known Elon for over 20, 25 years, one of America's great entrepreneurs and innovators, but this is not the person I knew even 2 years ago. And with respect to Elon, I just don't have the confidence that there's other things that he's not up to behind the scenes, not just, again, what he's expressing quite publicly. And I'm very concerned about a country where people like Elon Musk, others that are sucking up to Donald Trump, that will undoubtedly be carved out of regulations, undoubtedly get massive.
It says Elon Musk is sucking up to Donald Trump, which in some cases I kind of feel is true. But yeah, this dude saying all of this stuff, it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up because everything that he's done so far, it seems like everything is kind of intentional in some of the other way. The smart city that he's trying to build right now for Olympics 2028, one of the most craziest things that I've ever seen.
Even larger federal contracts. I mean, it is an American oligarchy that can be formed here. It's, again, very, very serious. I hope people are paying attention. Seeing this from Elon Musk breaks my heart a little bit. Again,
people are paying attention to you doing nothing, dude.
His entrepreneurial and innovative tendencies, and of course, we're all beneficiaries from that as it relates to vehicles and issues related to the work he's done in space. But I'm increasingly concerned about those kinds of relationships, not just him, many others that are supporting his campaign.
I think the only thing that people should be concerned about is the plans that you have, plan of the new city that you're trying to build. And it seems like, these guys are trying to take over almost all of the real estate out there in Los Angeles. And if that city ends up becoming a smart city or whatever, I think the guys that are going to own the real estate in those times, they're going to be billionaires. They're going to turn from millionaires to like billionaires in no time. I mean, just look at the kind of devastation that's happened to Los Angeles, man. This is not even AI generated, right? This is literally the real scene of what LA looks like, and that's just crazy. Nothing, literally nothing is in there. Everything is gone. I don't know, there's like one house that still remains over here. Just one house. Look at this shit, man. I played GTA 5, and for most of you guys who played Grand Theft Auto 5, you probably know this whole place. And there's just no way, man, it's gonna go back to what it was. And they're probably just gonna change everything into a completely different zone. And now, funny thing is that people are standing up against Gavin, and they're putting out posters all over LA.
Oh yeah,
and this is what it says. F you, Gavin Newsom. Resign now. There are people just putting out billboard posters all around Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, check that out.
So,
Nice.
That is crazy. And the worst thing is that, Gavin wants Donald Trump to come down and see the destruction that has been caused in California and meet with the community. And he says that, a president needs to be more concerned and needs to, provide some aid.
I don't want him just to see the damage. I want him to meet with the community. I want him to see, and also want him to understand the magnitude of what just has occurred in the United States of America. I want him to understand the magnitude of the need for support in his collaborative spirit. I want him to meet with the first responders, the 1,500+ that were on the line heroically.
The dude literally just cut off all the water, and he even said that he's offering like so much water, and then he on purpose just refused it. He said that, nope, we don't want water, we don't need water coming down to LA.
One thing I'm going to do for
Look at
California,
this is like literal.
California, I'm going to give you safety, I'm going to give you a great border, and I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land. And the water is going to come all the way down to Los Angeles, and you're going to have more water than you ever saw.
Look at that stuff.
And the smelt is not making it anyway. In fact, they make and grow smelt because it dies all the way up and down the line, and they put stuff that was artificially made. You know that. So you're going to have water in California at a level that you've never seen before. The farmers are going to do great. Those fields are going to be all green instead of 1% green. And maybe even more important, you're not going to have illegal immigrants pouring into your country and killing your family. You're not going to have the problems that you have right now. We're going to lower your taxes. We're going to bring the car industry back because your car industry is gone. We're bringing it back to Detroit at levels.
I mean, Trump was literally out there trying to, support Los Angeles. He already said that he was going to send in a lot of water. And then Gavin, he on purpose just refused the whole thing. And he said, nope, we don't want that water. And now he's just playing the victim card for some reason. And I just think, it's all about these smart cities that's actually coming up. Because if you know that Saudi Arabia, those guys are also building like a smart city as well. That's like the massive project. The Prince of Saudi Arabia, he has already announced that around the area of wilderness where the Israelites spent 40 years and Moses got the 10 commandments, the Prince of Saudi Arabia is building a futuristic city right there. And 250x the size of Paris that will be populated with robots and powered by AI. Something you've never heard of, and it's going to be called as Neom. Neom Home is what this new city is going to be called as. And this is like an AI created image of basically what this whole smart city could apparently look like. And it's massive, man. It's massive. 250 times more bigger than whatever Paris is. And I think that's probably what LA is trying to be. They're trying to create something like this, but they don't have enough lands. In order to, develop, they would actually have a lot of real estate values. And that's probably why they decided to, burn down the whole city and purchase it at a very cheap price. And now they're going to be billionaires if they do all of this stuff. So it basically does look like, everything is kind of planned out at the end of the day. And just look at the kind of plans that Saudi Arabia has as of now, because they're also planning on some sort of a floating city in the Red Sea, which is going to be called as Oxagon. A city is both on sea as well as on land.
Saudi Arabia's futuristic floating city, named Oxagon, will be the world's largest floating structure. Oxagon
Wow, like half of the city is like in the land and the other half is like in the sea.
Will be divided into two parts, an onshore part, which will be a huge port, and an offshore part, which will be for industry, factories, and living spaces.
Wait, you're going to have like living space on the water and not on the land?
Located on the Red Sea near the Suez Canal, where approximately 12% of global trade flows, the Oxagon project plans to establish the world's first fully automated port and integrated logistics hub.
Dude, that would be
Communities
sick,
are planned to be
man.
accessible on foot or by hydrogen-powered vehicles, with sustainable industry.
Hydrogen-powered vehicle, which means that you're going to use water in order to run your vehicles instead of all of these petroleums and, you know, gas and all that stuff. That would be crazy. I think there's also already like vehicles that has already been created. I actually saw this video, which is from Supercar Blondie, where she featured this car, apparently, which runs on water, man. Look at that. And that's literally just cool. It's not even hot. It's not fire. And the reason why is because, you know, this car, it's running on water. There's no diesel. There's no petrol. There's no gas. Nothing. Just pure water, man. This is how it looks. Just look at this stuff.
Oh my God, it really is just... Here runs purely on hydrogen. Now this...
That is crazy.
Cool. How cool is that? So as you go around corners...
I mean, if they could do something like this, you know, using hydrogen, if you're going to be using hydrogen, they're going to take a lot of stuff from water and, you know, most probably their prices are going to be much cheaper. And this just looks crazy, dude. Looks crazy. And that's probably what these guys are planning as well in the Red Sea, in the new smart city.
Seamlessly integrated, minimizing commute times and enhancing livability. The octagonal design is intended to maximize land use while preserving 95% of the natural environment and will be powered solely by renewable energies. The onshore development of Oxagon...
So they're going to use all of these solar plants, so all the energies that we're going to have in this smart city is going to be used only through solar. There's not going to be any sort of electricity pipelines and all that stuff that's going to run through. It's just all solar.
...is expected to be completed by 2030.
by 2030. So we're not very far away, just like 5 years from now. That's crazy. 5 years from now, we might finally see smart cities just popping out. And Gavin Newsom, this guy is also planning on some sort of a 2.0 for LA. I don't think that, people are going to support that stuff. Do you think that people are going to support this? Because if you look at this stuff, the smart city that, Saudi Arabia, they're planning on doing, it's not just in the water, right? They're also building this huge wall that's currently in construction right now. With Joe Rogan even speaks about this stuff. Look at this.
Do you know what that is?
Yes.
We think we know what money is. This is where the money is.
So what this is some mega city that's many miles long that they're building that's all completely integrated.
Nowhere.
One building. No roads, cars, or emissions. It will run on 100% renewable energy, and 95% of the land will be preserved for nature. People's health and well-being will be...
That's crazy, man. No vehicles are going to run on the roads. That's actually going to use energy, right? It's all just natural energy. I think they're going to invent some sort of, solar vehicles as well. That could be a new stuff.
Prioritized over transportation and infrastructure, unlike traditional cities. That might be amazing to visit. 9 million people. Look at that.
But you can see actual they're building it now. There's a whole city, couple of thousand workers living out there in these little air-conditioned cubicles.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Saudi Arabia is going off.
Wow.
That's so Star Wars.
They're building that.
Bro,
honestly,
this
man.
literally is science fiction. Science fiction turned reality. I mean, who has more money than them?
Nobody.
And they're also doing a lot
right?
of boxing events now, like Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, and they have a lot of money. Hey, I like it.
Exactly, man. Like, these guys have absolutely lots and lots and lots of money, and it seems like they're finally doing it. This is what the post actually says, but the most ambitious of all these projects is called The Line, and it's a futuristic city with no cars, and it runs in solar energy and artificial intelligence, and it'll take 10 million people. That is half of Lagos State and the whole of New York City, 170 kilometers long, and it will easily be accessible by foot. No cars, no electricity, just AI and solar powers. That's amazing. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it seems like they're already constructing this whole thing. It's going to be very interesting to see, how all of these things unfolds. And LA 2.0, America is trying to adapt to this stuff, but then they don't know how to do it as of now, because the way they're trying to do it is probably using, fires and destructions and then rebuilding the whole stuff that's already out there. Whereas these guys in the Saudi Arabia, they're trying to build new stuff in a completely new lands, because they have a lot of lands that's actually usable in deserts. So they're using natural resources like sunlight, because in Saudi Arabia it's always hot. There's a lot of sunlight. There is never a lack of sunlight in Saudi Arabia, so that's one big advantage for those guys. So they can use these natural resources and they can build whatever they want. So now they're doing one of the most ambitious projects, and it seems like LA, the place where you get a lot of sunlight as well, once again. So that's one of the cities that they chose in order to do the 2.0 project. So let me know in the comments down below, if you are someone that owns homes in LA, then would you be down with the new plan that they were just trying to build the LA 2.0 stuff? Is that something that you guys would like to see, or do you think that you're going to be completely against it? Because I obviously don't have any properties in LA, so I would love to hear from you guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you guys did enjoy this video, smack a big fat like on this video. It really goes a long way. It helps the channel out a lot more than you guys think. And now, with that being said, if you guys want to stay updated with more content like these every single day, then make sure to go ahead, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.